It's Sunday morning, the day after we've collected the car. After playing car Jenga this morning and moving a motorhome and a Land Rover and a Kia and a trailer, we've got the Allegro to the front of the garage, which is where it will eventually sit for a while I do it up. I've just got off the phone from the owner before the owner I bought it off, who was very knowledgeable, gave me loads of details which I'll document on a later video. I'm basically just spending the morning clearing the crap out of the inside of the Allegro while I've got the space on the drive and while it's dry, and just giving a quick assessment of how it is, and then we'll go from there. So I'll catch you in a bit. Just fighting the seats out at the minute. They are not original seats. I've been in contact with the last owner. Reckons they're off some sort of Van den Pla Austin, either a 13, 1800, he doesn't know, but basically he's made some really crude brackets that are totally unsafe. I mean, these cars wouldn't be safe in a crash anyway, but they've just been shoddily bolted to the floor, so I'm just about fighting these out at the minute. And the original seats will obviously go back in. Spent a few hours cleaning through the car, removing the seats that were the wrong ones. Basically checking the floors, having a look. Condition of the car is really good. I'm very surprised. There's a bit of rust in the boot and, you know, normal areas, but nothing to write home about. It's really good. I'll just do you a quick tour around of certain areas. I mean, I have no idea where these things do actually go, but for a 42-year-old car this May, I'm amazed at the quality of the metal. So here we go. So I'll start inside first. I've removed all the seats, as you can see. This is obviously original carpet, really good condition, as is everything really. The floors are outstanding. There's just solid. Can't see any sort of issues of, you know, rotten floors and stuff. I mean, obviously from underneath I'll tell more, but initial thoughts is it's certainly dry and solid in here. Go to the outside now. So the rear of the car, passenger side. Bottom of the door, slight bit of crust, but it's nothing really. And again, looks like a little bit on the sill where they've put a bit of filler. Under the arches looks good. Obviously you'll see more when I take the wheel off. There's a bit of corrosion in the corner into the boot there. Same the other side. And then doors are pretty good. There's a bit of rust at the bottom of that one, but I should think they're savable. Certainly inside is fractionally crusty, but not terrible. And the sill, pretty good. Moving on to the front, this front wing, I'm sure that filler hides a bit of rust there. There's a bit there, and then this top corner is the worst part of the car, I would say. And then I've took the rubber seal off there. You can see along there, I'm sure that's savable. Inner wings are astounding, as is the inside of the car. Front wing there again is a bit dodgy. Going over to the other side, it's nothing to say that that's terrible. The bonnet's perhaps delaminating itself from the skin, certainly at the back end, but we'll have a look at it. If I have to get a replacement, that's not the end of the world. I'm sure there's a bonnet available. And on to the other side, this wing looks like it's been painted because there's a little dent in it there. There's a bit of a patch there by the looks. This door here, we found out by speaking to one of the previous owners that his friend backed a Vauxhall Victor into it, I think he said. The handbrake failed and it rolled into it. Shame, but I'm going to have a look at trying to pop that out a bit. Into this side, sills look good. The sill protectors have been siliconed on because apparently he said he kept flicking them off with his foot. sure that's not hiding anything, but we'll find out. Inside this side's all good. Rear door, again, all looks good here. Bit of filler here, and it's starting to go there, but nothing major. And again under here, bit of filler. These quarters look good. Down by the petrol cap a little bit, and then the inner arch there into the boot again on this side, but that's really nothing. Round to the back, there's a bit on the boot here, but I'm sure that's nothing. And the inner lip all looks good, apart from a little bit of crust, but I'm sure that'll save. Inside the boot floor is good, apart from the back here. Apparently it's got a leak, the seal's gone, and it's been raining in a while, and the guy has just thrown a load of filler on it to try and stop it. So we'll get that out and clean it up and see what we've got there. But yeah, I'm really pleased. So we'll see what we can do now. So there's absolutely no reason to do this. I'm just going to be nosy and see if I can pop a bit of that door out from the inside, just to make it look a fraction less crusty. Like I say, I've got plenty of other stuff I could be doing, but sometimes you just gotta have a play. It's been a few years since I had a car that I guess is going to be so simple to get the door cards off. I'm guessing 3 or 4 screws and they should pop off with a trim tool. We'll have a look. Well, that was easy enough. Door cards, obviously, doors have never been taken apart. The plastic liner's still on, which is nice to see. And also, first sign of a build date. We've got the 9th of January 1978. Now the car was registered 5th of May 78, so everything stands up to say that that's original. See if I can get this plastic membrane off without ripping it, but if it does, it does. We can always get a new one of them. So the liner came off in one piece very easily, no damage to it, so that's good. Exceptional condition in the bottom of the doors. No rust at all on the inner part. It's a shame that the actual thing's dented. Now I've ordered a tripod off eBay so that I can do time lapse of stuff like this, but unfortunately there's no point me trying to hold the camera and stick an arm in, and it's just a waste of time, so you're just going to have to see what happens. You can't really see the dent from in there, but I'm going to go and have a press of that and see where we go. So a few minutes with a rubber mallet and a wooden mallet, using it as a dolly if you like, because I haven't got the correct tools, but I've not pushed it any worse, and it's certainly come out a lot. I can't get to certain pieces, so, but I mean, it looks better than a massive dent already. I'm not going to go too mad with it because I could end up taking it the other way and ruining it, but already that looks 100 times better than it did. I'll have a go at the back one now, see what we can do. There we go then, that's as good as I'm going to get them. Obviously I'm not a bodywork guy, and I'm using a rubber mallet and a wooden mallet to just pop them. Not going too mad with them because I could go the other way and make more work for the bodywork guy in the end, but it certainly looks a bit better than it did. I'm never going to get the creases out. The access is quite difficult down the bottom, but the big massive cave-ins have gone and it does look a bit better than it did, so I'm pleased with that. The date on the back one says, looks like the 14th of December 77, but also there's the 18th of January on there, so I guess this is the days that they actually make the cardboard panels, not necessarily the day that the car was assembled. One little nice touch that I like to see, you'll see this was a big craze in the 70s and 80s, etching the windows. You could buy a kit, or I remember seeing it as a kid, people were doing it on supermarket car parks for you. So the front screen's got it, as is the side, and that one, the little quarter panel. Going along here, it's on the boot there. Can't see what that says, but it's a sticker telling you that it's been done. Might be able to read that better. I'll take a photo of it. that quarter's the same. There's that door. Again, there's a better thing of the sticker. So that tells me that it's all original glass. Just going to remove these period spotlights. I won't throw them away, but I want the bumper back on. I want it to look as original as possible. So maybe there's a place for them in future, but certainly not at the minute. So I've taken them off and found a bit of rust on the front. I suppose this is to be expected. The water's going to go in through the grills and crap just sit there. Doesn't look like a terrible repair, but certainly there's a bit there to do. And the same the other side, although slightly less, which I find surprising because I suppose I'd have thought this side would be in the gutter all the time, but anyway. So I think I might start on the front, to be honest, when I start having a look at the bodywork. I'm going to take the number plate off now. Looks like the original plates, certainly that style. The raised plastic lettering. DW would have been a Cardiff registration when it was first registered, and that sort of tallies up. I've got old MOTs that are written in Welsh, and the guy who had it before the guy I bought it off, who I spoke today, Tom, said he actually fetched it from Merthyr Tydfil, so hasn't travelled far. It went from Merthyr down to Redruth in Cornwall, then up to Bridgewater in Somerset, and then to me in the Midlands. And if anybody's got a gun, we could shoot that dog. That'd be great. So there's the front, just with the plate off and the spotlights and the covers. I think I'd quite like to get the fog lights that go in there, to be honest. I think it looks nicer with them in, if I can find some. I did obviously disconnect the battery when I was doing the work, but the spotlights weren't wired up anyway. Perhaps for the wise, because that's quite a Heath Robinson battery holder there. It's a good job that is the earth wire, isn't it? So I'm going to keep that disconnected because you never know with these old cars, and it's in the garage. I wouldn't want it to suddenly combust. So there you go. I've taken the wheel trims off. I was going to put it in the garage on axle stands, but I think I'm going to leave it rolling for now and just move the motorhome backwards and forwards as and when. I've this terrible affiliation for naming things in a stupid way, so I've already thought of a crazy name for the Allegro. This is Lola, the motorhome. It's called Lola because it's a tranny. That's about the status of my humour. And the Allegro, believe it or not, because it begins with A and they call them Agros, I thought I'd call it Agatha Christie. So there you go. Say everybody, hello Agatha. There is one thing I have to do. I have to source a new ignition barrel. Here is the ignition barrel. Apparently the key was lost, and so the last owner has fitted a switch that turns the ignition on, and then the starter switch presses that, which is fine, but because it's not very secure. So I'll try to source a new barrel, as you can see there, for that. There you go. There's obviously no seats in the car now, but I thought I'd sign off today's video. I'm quite happy with how it's gone. Car is surprisingly tidy and original. 32,672 miles showing on the clock. There's no reason to believe that's not true. I've got an MOT from 2002, I think it was, where it had only done 28,000. And certainly the history that I've got tallies up that it hasn't gone round the clock, and there is no way with the condition of the interior being like this that it would have done. So I believe that to be real. So yeah, all in all, very, very happy with the purchase. There's a lot of work to do, but there's a lot of worse ones that have been done. So tune in for the next episode. I'll have to draw up a plan of what I'm going to do in what order and stick to it, because I am terrible for starting one and then going, oh, I'll just have a look at that, and doing something else. So I need to draw a plan up of what's urgent and what's not urgent. The plan is going to be get it for, even though it's MOT exempt, get it in for an MOT or at least a hour's labour pretend MOT so we can see what's wrong with it. Go through all the brakes and the steering and all the, you know, really safety items, if you like, before we even attempt to drive it on the road. It'll need 4 new tyres. The tyres are very cracked, I noticed yesterday when I loaded it up. So yeah, there's a bit to do, but we shall definitely drive it this year and then probably take it off the road in the winter completely and start poking holes in it and sanding it down and getting it ready for paint. I've got a mate who's a body shop and painter. Hopefully we can get it over to him and get it repainted and see how we go. So we'll catch you on a future video.